The stars looked different from this far out. Captain Han Jiwoo stood on the bridge of the Taeguk Pioneer and watched the view screen with quiet amazement. They had traveled farther than any human before them. The quantum fold drive had worked perfectly, carrying them across light years in mere weeks. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," Lieutenant Kang Sora said from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls. "It's a signal. Not natural. Someone is out here." Jiwoo felt her heartbeat faster. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. They were not alone in the universe. "Can you decode it?" she asked. Sora worked in silence for several minutes. "It's a greeting protocol. They're welcoming us to, they call it the Galactic Union. Captain, there are others out here. Many others." Commander Yoon Dae-ho stepped forward. "Could be a trap," he said carefully. "We should be cautious." "We came out here to find new life," Jiwoo replied. "Send a response, Lieutenant. Tell them we come in peace." Within an hour, a ship appeared near them. It was beautiful, shaped like a flowing ribbon of silver metal. It moved with grace that seemed impossible for something so large. The Taeguk Pioneer looked rough and practical next to it. "They're asking permission to dock," Sora said. "They want to meet us face to face," Jiwoo nodded. "Granted. Dae-ho, assemble a security team but keep weapons holstered. Dr. Park, you're with me." Dr. Park Murray practically bounced with excitement as they walked to the docking bay. "This is incredible," she whispered. "We're about to meet aliens. Real aliens." The airlock opened with a hiss. The creature that stepped through was unlike anything they had imagined. It stood on 4 delicate legs, its body covered in smooth plates that shimmered with rainbow colors. Large eyes sat on short stalks, moving independently to look around. When it spoke, the words came from a device attached to its chest. "Greetings, travelers. I am Ambassador Velthar of the Galactic Union. We are pleased to welcome you." Jiwoo bowed slightly. "I am Captain Han Jiwoo of Earth. This is Dr. Park Mirai and Commander Yoon Dae-ho. We are honored to meet you." Velthar's eyes moved to study each of them. "Earth, we have not heard of this world. Please tell us about your home." They moved to a meeting room. Mirai eagerly began sharing information about Earth. She showed images of blue oceans, green forests, and tall mountains. Velthar seemed interested, asking questions about Earth's location and history. "Your world is quite beautiful," Velthar said. "May I ask about the environmental conditions?" "Of course," Mirai said happily. She pulled up the data. Earth has a gravity of 1 standard G, atmospheric oxygen content of 21%, temperature range from -90 to +58 degrees Celsius, active plate tectonics, and regular severe weather systems. Velthar went completely still. All eye movement stopped. After a long moment, the ambassador spoke quietly. Please repeat those numbers. I believe my translator malfunctioned." Mirai looked confused but repeated the information. Velthar's body seemed to shrink slightly. "I must contact my superiors immediately." "This is unexpected. Is something wrong?" Jiwoo asked, concerned. "Wrong? No, not wrong, just shocking. Please excuse me." Velthar hurried back to the docking bay, moving faster than before. The 3 humans looked at each other. "What just happened?" Dae-ho asked. Several hours passed. The crew waited nervously. Finally, Velthar returned, this time with another alien. This one looked different, with a body made of what seemed like living crystal. It reflected light in strange patterns. "I am High Scholar Quindel," the crystal being said. "I must verify your planet's data." "This is very important." Mirai provided all the information they had. Quindel examined everything carefully, running multiple checks. The scholar's voice became quieter with each verification. "The data is correct. This is, by the ancient stars, this is a Class 12 Deathworld." "Deathworld?" Jiwoo repeated. "What does that mean?" Quindel seemed to struggle with how to explain. "Captain, most species in the Galactic Union evolved on worlds with gravity between 0.4 and 0.7 of your standard. Our atmospheres contain 8 to 12% oxygen. Our weather is stable and predictable. Your world should not support complex life." "But it does," Mirai said. "Millions of species live on Earth." "That is what makes it terrifying," Velthar said softly. "Your gravity would crush most of us. Your oxygen would corrode our tissues. Your weather could kill us in minutes. And yet you evolved there. You thrive there." Dae-ho frowned. "We're not that unusual. Earth is just Earth. It's normal to us." "That is precisely the problem," Quindel said. What is normal to you is deadly to almost everyone else in the galaxy. You are Deathworlders. This changes everything. Jiwoo felt a cold sensation in her stomach. We're not dangerous. We came here looking for friendship. I believe you, Velthar said, but you must understand our concern. In 12,000 years of galactic history, we have encountered only 3 other Deathworlder species. They are difficult to interact with. Their strength makes them dangerous even when they do not mean to be. We have protocols for this situation, Quindell explained. You will be escorted to the Union Central Station. The Council must decide how to proceed. This is not rejection but caution. Please understand. The humans agreed, though they felt confused and somewhat hurt. They had come in peace, excited to join galactic civilization. Instead, they were being treated like a threat. As the Teguk Pioneer followed Velthar's ship toward the Union Station, Jiwoo stood on the bridge thinking. Humanity had finally reached the stars and met alien life, but their first impression was fear. Captain, Mirai said quietly, I've been reading the Union database they shared. Most galactic species consider a light rainstorm to be dangerous weather. They think animals that weigh more than 10 kilograms are huge predators. Their idea of a temperature extreme is anything outside 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. So we really are that different, Deho said. Yes, Mirai replied. Earth is apparently one of the most hostile inhabited planets ever discovered. We evolved in hell by their standards. Jiwoo looked at her crew. They were scientists, explorers, and dreamers. They were also stronger, tougher, and more resilient than they had ever realized. Then we show them who we really are, she said firmly. We show them that Deathworlders can also be friends. The journey to Central Station would take 3 days. In that time, everything would change for both humanity and the Galactic Union. Neither side yet knew just how much. The Union Central Station was massive beyond imagination. It stretched across space like a silver ring, large enough to hold entire cities inside. Ships of every shape and design moved around it like fish in a vast ocean. The Teguk Pioneer looked small and rough compared to them. As they docked, Captain Jiwoo noticed something strange. Their assigned bay had extra reinforcement around it. Thick metal walls and multiple airlocks separated them from the main station. It looked like a quarantine zone. They're afraid of us, Commander Deho said quietly. Look at all these safety measures. Can you blame them? Dr. Mirai replied. She had spent the journey reading everything she could about galactic species. Most of them would die in minutes on Earth. To them were walking nightmares. Ambassador Velthar met them at the airlock, along with several other aliens. One looked like a floating jellyfish with glowing tendrils. Another resembled a small bear made of soft fur, but it moved slowly and carefully. A third had too many legs and eyes, but a gentle voice. Welcome to Central Station, Velthar said. These are members of the Integration Committee. They will help us understand each other better. Please be very careful when moving. The gravity here is set to standard, which is 0.5 of your Earth gravity. Jiwoo took a step and nearly jumped. Everything felt light, almost like walking on a trampoline. This is normal for you? She asked. For most species, yes, the jellyfish alien said through a translator. I am Counselor Thexmar. Your natural gravity is considered crushing force by our standards. We have prepared special quarters for you with Earth normal conditions. But please understand you cannot move freely through the station. They were led through corridors to a section of the station that had been modified for them. Inside their quarters, the gravity felt normal. The air had Earth's oxygen content. It was comfortable, but Jiwoo understood the message. They were being contained. Over the next few days, the Integration Committee interviewed them constantly. Every question felt like an interrogation. How strong were humans? How fast could they move? What could they survive? What did they eat? Dr. Choi Hisu, the medical officer, had her own meetings with alien doctors. When she returned to their quarters, she looked troubled. They're terrified of us on a biological level, she told Jiwoo. Their bones are hollow and light. Their muscles are much weaker than ours. One of them told me that falling from standing height could break their bones. A simple handshake from us could crush their limbs. We would never hurt them, Jiwoo said. I know that. You know that. But they don't know that yet. To them, we're incredibly dangerous just by existing. The formal classification hearing happened on the 5th day. The human crew was brought before the full Galactic Council, a chamber filled with hundreds of different species. The room was enormous, with representatives from worlds across the galaxy. High Scholar Quindell presented Earth's data to the Council. With each fact, the chamber grew quieter. When Quindel mentioned that Earth had survived 5 mass extinction events, several aliens made sounds of distress. The planet actively tries to kill its inhabitants, Quindel explained. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, droughts, and floods occur regularly. The weather alone is more violent than weapons used in ancient galactic wars. And the wildlife? Someone asked from the crowd. Dr. Park has prepared a presentation, Quindel said, looking uncomfortable. Mireille stood up nervously. She had chosen carefully, selecting animals that she thought were impressive but not too scary. She started with dolphins, thinking they were safe. The alien seemed fascinated until she mentioned that dolphins could weigh up to 600 kilograms and swim at speeds over 50 kilometers per hour. That is a predator, Counselor Thexmar said. A massive predator. Actually, humans swim with them for fun, Mireille said. They're considered friendly. The chamber erupted in worried chittering and whistling. Mireille quickly moved to the next slide, showing elephants. The reaction was worse. When she explained that elephants weighed several tons, multiple aliens had to leave the room. Perhaps we should stop, Velthar suggested gently. But I haven't shown them the really interesting ones yet, Mireille protested. I have slides about tigers, bears, crocodiles. Please, no more, Thexmar said. We understand. Your world is filled with creatures that would be classified as super predators on any civilized world. Commander Deho tried to help. Most of those animals avoid humans. We're not in constant danger. You mentioned hiking earlier, an alien representative said. What is hiking? Walking in nature for recreation, Deho explained. Through mountains and forests, sometimes for days at a time. You voluntarily go into the habitat of these super predators for pleasure? The alien sounded horrified. It's relaxing, Deho said, then realized how that sounded. To us, I mean. The final shock came when Lieutenant Kangsora was asked about human history. She mentioned pets, thinking it would show humanity's gentle side. We keep animals in our homes as companions, she explained. Dogs, cats, birds. They're family to us. What are dogs? Someone asked. Domesticated wolves, Sora said proudly. We've lived with them for thousands of years. The chamber went silent. Then chaos erupted. Multiple species started talking at once. Some demanded immediate quarantine of all humans. Others wanted to know more about how humans had tamed apex predators. A few simply stared in shock. Counselor Thexmar called for order. The council will deliberate. Humans, please return to your quarters while we discuss your classification. Back in their quarters, the crew sat in stunned silence. That went badly, Deho said. We just told them the truth, Mireille said. It's not our fault they find Earth terrifying. Maybe that's the problem, Jiwoo said thoughtfully. We keep thinking of these things as normal because to us they are. We don't see ourselves as dangerous. But from their perspective, we're monsters who don't realize we're monsters. Dr. Choi nodded. I spoke with one of the alien medical staff. She told me that the average Union species has never experienced physical pain beyond mild discomfort. They have never known hunger beyond missing a meal. They have never faced a threat that could actually kill them. We grow up with all those things. It shapes us differently. So what do? Sora asked. Jiwoo stood and looked out the window at the massive station. Somewhere out there, hundreds of alien species were deciding humanity's fate. We wait, and we hope they see past their fear to who we really are. 3 days later, the verdict came. Humanity was classified as a Category 1 Deathworlder species. They would be allowed to interact with the Union, but under strict protocols. Special areas would be designated for human use. All interactions required safety officers present. And most importantly, humans were forbidden from certain areas where the fragile species congregated. It was not the warm welcome humanity had hoped for, but it was a beginning. The galaxy had acknowledged them even if it was with fear. Now they had to prove they deserved more than fear. They had to earn respect. The Galactic Council decided that understanding humans required cultural exchange. If fear could not be avoided, perhaps it could be managed through knowledge. They created a program where humans would share their culture and learn about others. Everyone agreed it was a good idea. Everyone was wrong. The first disaster happened during a simple maintenance check. Engineer Lee Junho was inspecting the Tiguk Pioneer's hull when a panel came loose. Without thinking, he caught it with one hand. The panel was solid steel, weighing about 30 kilograms. To Junho, it was just slightly heavy. To the 3 alien observers watching him, it looked like casual superhuman strength. One of them fainted. Another triggered an emergency alarm. The third ran away so fast they injured themselves in the station's light gravity. I was just doing my job, Junho protested later. That panel wasn't even that heavy. To you, Captain Jiwoo said tiredly. To them, you casually lifted something that weighs as much as 3 of their people combined. The next incident involved Lieutenant Kang Sora. The cultural exchange program asked her to demonstrate a human hobby. She chose Taekwondo, thinking it would show discipline and control. She wore her uniform, bowed respectfully, and began with basic forms. The aliens watched with interest until she got to the breaking demonstration. Sora had set up wooden boards, the same kind children used for practice on Earth. She focused, then struck cleanly through 3 boards with her hand. The sound of wood breaking echoed through the chamber. Several aliens screamed. More fainted. Security rushed in with weapons drawn, thinking someone was attacking. It's just board breaking, Sora said, holding up the pieces. It's a sport. Children do this. That made it worse. The idea that human children trained to break solid objects with their bodies was apparently more terrifying than adults doing it. An emergency council meeting was called to discuss whether humans were secretly training warriors. We're not warriors, Commander Daeho tried to explain. Martial arts are about self-discipline and fitness. Most people who study them never fight anyone. But you train to fight, Counselor Thexmar said carefully. You practice strikes that could injure others. For sport and exercise, Daeho insisted. Like games. Your games involve hitting each other, an alien representative pointed out. Our games involve thinking puzzles and pattern recognition. The cultural exchange tried to continue. Chef Bae-Nari volunteered to prepare a traditional Korean meal. She was excited to share her culture through food. She chose dishes she considered mild and accessible. Bulgogi, bibimbap, and a very gentle kimchi that she made specifically less spicy for alien tastes. The dinner started well. The presentation was beautiful. The aliens were curious and polite. Then they tasted the food. The capsaicin in the kimchi, even reduced to barely noticeable levels by human standards, hit the aliens like poison. Within seconds, medical alarms went off. Aliens were gasping, their skin changing colors, some producing distress calls in frequencies that hurt human ears. It burns, one alien cried. Why does it burn? Medical teams arrived in protective suits. They evacuated the dining area and sealed it off like a chemical spill. Chef Nari watched in horror as her carefully prepared meal was treated as a biological weapon. I made it so mild, she said, tears in her eyes. I barely used any pepper at all. Dr. Choi Hisu had to explain to the medical teams that humans voluntarily consumed capsaicin for pleasure. We find the sensation enjoyable, she said. We even have competitions to eat increasingly spicy foods. You poison yourselves for entertainment, the lead doctor said flatly. What kind of species does that? Deathworlders, apparently, Choi said with a sigh. The situation grew more complicated when Union researchers began studying Earth's entertainment media. They gained access to human databases and started watching everything without understanding context. They watched historical documentaries about wars and believed humans were constantly in conflict. They watched disaster movies and thought Earth regularly faced extinction events. They watched horror films and concluded that humans enjoyed being terrified. One researcher watched Train to Busan and filed an emergency report about Earth surviving a zombie outbreak. Another watched disaster films and calculated that Earth should have been destroyed multiple times. A third studied action movies and concluded that all humans knew advanced combat techniques. They're fiction, Dr. Mirai tried to explain. Stories we tell for entertainment. They're not real. But why would you create entertainment about terrible things? A researcher asked. We create stories about harmony and cooperation. We have those too, Mirai said. But we also enjoy stories about overcoming challenges and surviving danger. Because danger is normal to you, the researcher said quietly. Your entertainment reflects your reality, a reality that would kill us. The breaking point came during a presentation about human emotions. A xenopsychologist named Rina had been studying human psychological responses. She presented her findings to the council with growing alarm in her voice. Humans have a response called adrenaline, she explained. When facing danger, their bodies release chemicals that make them stronger, faster, and more resistant to pain. They can temporarily ignore injuries that would incapacitate us. That's just biology, Jiwoo said. It's a survival mechanism. Yes, Rena agreed. But here is what troubles me. Humans deliberately seek situations that trigger this response. They jump from aircraft for recreation. They climb mountains for pleasure. They ride machines that move at dangerous speeds for entertainment. They intentionally trigger their own danger responses. The council chamber fell silent. Jiwoo tried to find words to explain. We enjoy challenges. We like pushing our limits. It makes us feel alive. You need danger to feel alive, Rina said. Most species seek safety and comfort to feel content. Humans seek risk and challenge. This is a fundamental difference. Later that evening, the human crew gathered in their quarters. They were exhausted and frustrated. Everything they did seemed to scare the aliens. Every attempt at connection made things worse. Maybe we should just go home, Chef Nari said sadly. We're not welcome here. No, Jiwoo said firmly. We knew this would be difficult. We just need to be more careful about what we share and how we share it. How do we make them understand we're not dangerous? Sora asked. Maybe we can't, Daeho said. Maybe we are dangerous to them. But dangerous doesn't mean evil. A fire is dangerous, but it also gives warmth and light. We need to show them we can control our strength. How? Mirai asked. Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency broadcasts filled the air. Something was happening. Something that would change everything. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could do when others needed protecting, and perhaps for the first time they would see that Deathworlders could be more than just scary. The emergency broadcast was clear and terrifying. Vraxian corsairs had attacked a Union trade convoy near the border zones. 17 ships were disabled. 3 stations were being evacuated. Civilians were in danger. Captain Jiwoo listened to the reports with growing concern. The Union's defense fleet was responding but being overwhelmed. The pirates had better weapons and no mercy. People were dying. Why isn't the Union fighting back? Commander Daeho asked, watching the tactical displays. They don't know how, Doctor, Mirai said quietly. I've been reading their history. They haven't fought a real war in 8,000 years. Their ships are designed for exploration and trade, not combat. Admiral Pelquinks, the Union fleet commander, sent out a desperate call. Any ships capable of helping with evacuation should respond. Most Union vessels were fleeing. Their crews were not trained for danger. Their ships could not withstand attacks. Jiwoo looked at her crew. They were scientists and explorers, not soldiers. But they were also human. And humans did not run from people in need. Commander Daeho, status of our weapon systems? Full operational, Daeho replied. Though calling them weapons is generous. We have point defense lasers for debris and meteorites, and kinetic barriers for radiation shielding. That's more than most Union ships have, Weapons Officer Hong Yunji pointed out. I've been studying their vessels. Their defenses are minimal. They've never needed them before. Captain, Lieutenant Nam Jamin said from the pilot station, we can reach the attack zone in 40 minutes. But the Council hasn't authorized us for combat operations. Jiwoo made her decision. We're not asking permission. People are dying. Helm, set course. All crew to alert stations. The Taeguk Pioneer broke away from the station at full speed. Behind them, emergency channels exploded with protests and warnings. The humans ignored them all. When they arrived at the battle zone, the situation was worse than expected. Pirate ships surrounded damaged Union vessels like predators circling wounded prey. The Union fleet was in full retreat, unable to defend civilians or themselves. 5 pirate vessels in attack formation, Yunji reported. They've spotted us. They're turning to engage. Good, Jiwoo said calmly. Let them come to us. Yunji, target their weapon systems only. We're not here to kill anyone. Jamin evasive pattern Delta. Delta? Jamin hesitated. Captain, that's an Earth atmospheric combat pattern. The G-forces will be uncomfortable. For us or for them? Jiwoo asked with a slight smile. For them, definitely for them, Jamin said, understanding. His hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. The first pirate ship fired. The energy beam hit the Pioneer's shields and dissipated harmlessly. The Teguk Pioneer was built to survive Earth's violent space environment. It was designed to withstand radiation, micrometeorite impacts, and the stress of breaking through Earth's gravity well. Pirate weapons barely registered. Jimin threw the ship into a maneuver that would have killed most galactic species through sheer acceleration. The Pioneer spun, dove, and rose in patterns impossible for standard ships. The human crew felt the pressure but handled it easily. They had all trained in Earth's gravity. This was normal. Yunji fired with precision born from human evolutionary need for accuracy. Every shot hit exactly where intended. Within 3 minutes, 2 pirate ships were disabled, their weapon systems destroyed, but their crews safe. They're regrouping, Daeho reported, trying a coordinated assault. Then let's show them coordination, Jiwoo said. All stations, execute. The Teguk Pioneer moved like it was alive. Jamin's piloting was beyond anything galactic species considered possible. The ship dodged fire, returned precise strikes, and protected the disabled Union vessels all at once. It was a dance of combat that humans had refined through thousands of years of necessity. The pirates could not understand what was happening. Their ships were faster than most Union vessels. Their weapons were more powerful, but nothing prepared them for an opponent that treated high-speed combat like routine work. "Captain, the lead pirate ship is hailing us," Sora said. "Audio only. Put them through." A harsh voice filled the bridge. "What are you? Union ships do not fight like this. Union ships cannot fight like this." "We're not Union," Jiwoo replied. "We're human, and we're giving you one chance to surrender." "Humans? The Deathworlders?" There was a pause, then harsh laughter. "Tales to scare children. We are Warlord Cracks, terror of the border zones. We will board your ship and teach you fear." "Bad idea," Daeho muttered. "Commander, prepare to repel boarders," Jiwoo ordered. "Non-lethal force only." Warlord Cracks' ship latched onto the Pioneer's hull. Cutting torches began burning through the airlock. Daeho and his security team waited calmly, checking their equipment. They wore no special armor, just standard duty uniforms. The airlock burst open. 20 Varaxian pirates poured through, armed and ready for combat. They were large by galactic standards, evolved on a high-gravity world. They expected to overwhelm the crew through size and strength. Then they entered the ship's interior, and Earth's gravity hit them. 1 full G, normal for humans, crushing for them. They staggered, their weapons suddenly heavy, their movement sluggish. "Surrender now," Daeho said calmly. "You cannot fight in this gravity." One pirate tried to raise his weapon. Daeho moved faster, disarming him with a simple martial arts technique Sora had demonstrated days before. The pirate fell heavily, unable to rise under the gravity. Within minutes, all 20 pirates were secured. They had not landed a single blow. The human security team had barely worked up a sweat. This was their environment. This was their gravity. The pirates literally could not compete. "This is impossible." Warlord Cracks gasped through the communication link. "What kind of beings are you?" "We tried to tell you," Jiwoo said. "Now surrender your remaining ships or we will disable them." Cracks surrendered. The entire battle had lasted 15 minutes. The Teguk Pioneer had defeated 5 pirate vessels without destroying any of them or seriously injuring anyone. It was precise, controlled, and absolutely terrifying to everyone watching. Admiral Pelquinks contacted them immediately. "Captain Jiwoo, that was incredible. In 8,000 years I have never seen combat like that. You moved so fast, shot so accurately, fought so efficiently." "We did what was necessary," Jiwoo replied simply. "Are the civilians safe?" "Yes, thanks to you. The Union owes humanity a great debt." Later, as the crew secured the prisoners and helped repair damaged Union ships, Dr. Mirai approached Jiwoo. The entire battle was broadcast across Union space. Everyone saw what we did. "Good or bad?" Jiwoo asked. "Both," Mirai said. "We proved we can fight, but we also proved we can show mercy and restraint. We didn't kill anyone, we protected the weak. Maybe that's more important than the fear." Jiwoo looked at her crew. They were tired but proud. They had done something good today. They had protected those who could not protect themselves. Maybe that's what being a Deathworlder really means, she said quietly. Not that we're dangerous, but that we can be dangerous when we need to be, and that we choose when to use that power. Across the galaxy, millions of beings watched the recording of the battle. They saw humans fight with skill and power beyond understanding, but they also saw humans show mercy. They saw Deathworlders choose to protect rather than destroy. Fear remained, but now it was mixed with something new, hope. Maybe these terrifying creatures from the Nightmare Planet could be allies after all. Maybe strength and kindness could exist together. The galaxy was beginning to understand. Humans were dangerous, yes, but perhaps dangerous was exactly what the peaceful union needed. 3 weeks after the pirate incident, Ambassador Ojina arrived from Earth. She came with a full diplomatic team and a clear mission: help the galaxy understand humanity beyond fear and combat. Captain Jiwoo met her at the docking bay with relief. They needed someone trained in diplomacy. The situation is complicated, Jiwoo explained as they walked through the station. They're grateful we saved lives, but now they want us to train their military. They see us as warriors, not explorers. Are we warriors? Gina asked thoughtfully. Or did we simply do what needed doing? Both, maybe, Jiwoo said. But I don't want that to be all they see. Ambassador Ojina's first meeting with the Galactic Council focused on correcting misunderstandings. She stood before hundreds of alien representatives and spoke with calm confidence. You have called humans warriors and Deathworlders, she began. These labels are not wrong, but they are incomplete. Yes, we evolved on a harsh world. Yes, we can fight when necessary. But humans are also artists, philosophers, scientists, and dreamers. Our harsh environment taught us to value life, not take it lightly. Counselor Thexamar spoke carefully. We have seen your combat abilities. How do we reconcile that with your claims of peace? A shepherd carries a staff to protect the flock from wolves, Gina replied. The staff does not make the shepherd a wolf. Capability for violence does not equal desire for violence. We fight to protect, not to conquer. Professor Lim Seungo, a human xenoanthropologist who arrived with Gina, presented his research to academic groups. He had spent months studying both human and galactic development. Most galactic species evolved in stable, abundant environments. He explained to a gathering of scholars. Your worlds provided easy access to food, water, and shelter. Cooperation was advantageous but not critical for survival. You developed intelligence in paradise, and humans. High Scholar Quindell asked. We developed intelligence in hell, Sung-O said bluntly. On Earth, nature actively tried to kill us. Cooperation was not optional, it was survival. Every human alive descended from ancestors who worked together against impossible odds. We are strong because we had to be, but we are cooperative for the same reason. This perspective shift began changing how aliens viewed humans. Dr. Mirai organized new cultural exchanges, this time carefully managed. She showed alien scholars Earth's ecosystems not as chambers of horror, but as complex systems that created remarkable diversity. The harshness created innovation, she explained during a presentation. Earth's many different environments forced life to adapt in millions of ways. The danger fostered intelligence. The challenges created problem solvers. We are not aggressive despite our world. We are cooperative because of it. One alien researcher asked the question many were thinking. But you enjoy danger. You seek it out for recreation. How do you explain that? Dr. Choi Hee-soo answered from her medical perspective. Our brains evolved to handle stress and danger. When we face challenges, we release chemicals that help us cope. Over time, we learn to associate those chemicals with achievement and growth. We do not seek danger for its own sake. We seek the growth that comes from overcoming challenges. So your recreation is actually training, Quindell said, understanding dawning. You practice handling difficulty so you can handle real difficulty better. Exactly, Choi said. We climb mountains not because they are dangerous, but because they are difficult. The difficulty is the point. It makes us stronger, mentally and physically. Meanwhile, humans were learning about galactic life in return. Lieutenant Sora discovered that most alien languages were simpler than human languages. They did not need complex communication, she explained to the crew. Their environments were stable. They did not need words for 100 types of weather or 50 ways to describe danger. Commander Deho learned that galactic conflicts were resolved through negotiation because physical confrontation could easily be fatal. They are not more peaceful than humans, he said. They are more fragile. Fighting is too dangerous for them, so they learned other ways. The breakthrough came when Ambassador Gina organized a human cultural festival. She invited alien delegates to experience human art, music, and philosophy in a controlled, safe environment. This time, she focused on beauty rather than capability. Human musicians performed traditional songs from various cultures. The aliens listened, entranced by the complexity and emotion. One piece was a Korean folk song about longing for home. When it ended, several aliens were visibly moved. "That was beautiful," Ambassador Velthar said softly. The emotion was so clear, so deep. "We feel the same longing, the same love of home. Music is universal," Gina said. "It transcends species and worlds." Human artists displayed paintings and sculptures. The aliens studied them carefully, seeing not violence but beauty, not strength but grace. One painting showed a storm over the ocean, violent and powerful but also magnificent. "You find beauty in the danger," Quindel observed. "You do not fear your world. You love it." "Yes," Mirai said. "Earth made us strong, but it also taught us to appreciate what we have. Every calm day is a gift. Every moment of peace is precious because we know how quickly it can change." Professor Sungho gave a lecture on human philosophy. He spoke of different cultures and beliefs, of humanity's constant struggle to understand existence and find meaning. The aliens listened, fascinated. "We have a saying," Sungho said. "What does not kill us makes us stronger." It means we learn and grow from hardship. But we also have another saying: "The best warrior is one who never fights." We value strength, but we value wisdom and peace more. A young alien student asked, "Do humans ever wish for an easier world? Do you resent Earth for being so harsh?" Jiwoo answered from the audience. "Sometimes, yes. We wish for safety and ease. But Earth made us who we are. Without the challenges, we would not have developed the way we did. We would not have learned to work together, to innovate, to persist. The difficulty gave us purpose." Over the following weeks, relationships began to change. Aliens approached humans with less fear and more curiosity. They asked questions about Earth, about human culture, about how to overcome challenges in their own lives. A group of alien engineers asked Junho to teach them human problem-solving methods. "You approach difficulties differently," they explained. "When we encounter obstacles, we often give up and find easier paths. You seem to view obstacles as puzzles to solve." "Because we had to," Junho said. "On Earth, giving up meant dying. So we learned to persist, to try different approaches, to never accept that something is impossible." Councillor Vexari, a progressive politician, became humanity's advocate in the council. "We have feared Deathworlders," he argued. "But perhaps we should learn from them. They have qualities we lack: resilience, determination, the ability to face fear and act anyway. These are not threats. These are gifts." Not everyone agreed. Some species still wanted humans restricted, contained, watched constantly. But more aliens were beginning to see past the fear to the people underneath. One evening, Captain Jiwoo and Ambassador Velthar shared a meal in neutral quarters. The gravity was adjusted to a comfortable middle ground. They ate carefully prepared food that both species could enjoy. "We were wrong about humans," Velthar said quietly. "Not completely, but partly. You are dangerous. But you're also kind, creative, and loyal. You are more than your strength." "We were wrong about you too," Jiwoo replied. "We thought being peaceful meant being weak. But you have maintained peace for thousands of years. That takes its own kind of strength." "Perhaps we need each other," Velthar said. "Your strength and our wisdom, your determination and our patience. Together we might build something better than either could alone." Jiwoo raised her glass. "To friendship across worlds." "To understanding beyond fear," Velthar responded. The galaxy was changing, slowly but surely. Humans were finding their place among the stars not as conquerors or threats, but as partners. The fear remained, but it was balanced now by respect and increasingly friendship. The warning came without ceremony. A Union exploration vessel at the Rim territories detected a massive fleet approaching from beyond known space. The ships were aggressive in design, heavily armed, and they were not responding to peaceful hails. They were coming, and they were coming for conquest. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Captain Jiwoo and Ambassador Gina attended, watching as panic spread through the chamber. These invaders called themselves the Devastators, and they had already destroyed 2 outlying Union stations. "We must negotiate," Councillor Thexmar said. "We have always found peaceful solutions." "They are not interested in negotiation," Admiral Pelquinks reported grimly. "They have ignored all communication attempts. They simply attack and take what they want." High Scholar Quindell presented what little information they had gathered. The Devastators evolved on a harsh world, not as harsh as Earth, but with 0.9 gravity and hostile fauna. They view strength as the only virtue. They consider the Union weak and ripe for taking. "They are not wrong," Ambassador Velthar said quietly. "We have no military tradition. Our ships are not warships. Our people are not fighters. We have lived in peace for so long that we have forgotten how to defend ourselves." The council chamber fell silent. The truth was painful but clear. The Union was defenseless against a determined enemy. Their entire civilization was built on the assumption that reason and cooperation would prevail. Now they faced beings who respected only force. Ambassador Gina stood. "Earth will help." "You would fight for us?" Thexmar asked. "We have treated you with fear and suspicion. Why would you risk your people for ours?" "Because it is right," Gina said simply. "Because peaceful people deserve protection. Because that is what friends do." Captain Jiwoo contacted Earth immediately. She explained the situation and requested military support. The response came quickly. Fleet Admiral Ko Minsu was assembling a battle group. They would arrive within 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Councillor Vexari asked. "The Devastators will reach the core systems in 10 days. Then we hold them for 10 days, Commander Deho said. "The Taeguk Pioneer and whatever Union ships will stand with us." Admiral Pelquinks looked at the tactical displays. "We have 40 ships that can be armed. Against their 200, we will be destroyed." "Maybe," Jiwoo said, "but we will make them pay for every meter of space, and we will give your civilians time to evacuate." The defense was organized quickly. Union ships that had never fired weapons in anger were retrofitted for combat. The Taeguk Pioneer took position at the center of the formation. They chose a system with a strategic bottleneck, a narrow passage between 2 nebulas that the Devastators would have to cross. When the Devastator fleet arrived, they seemed amused by the defense. Their leader, Overlord Thraxul, broadcast a message. "You resist? Brave but pointless. We have conquered 17 systems. You will be the 18th. "This is different," Jiwoo replied calmly. "We are different. You are the Union," Thraxul said dismissively. "Soft, weak, afraid of conflict. You will break like all the others." "We are not all Union," Jiwoo said. "Some of us are human." The battle began. The Devastators attacked with overwhelming force, expecting quick victory. They had more ships, more weapons, more experience. What they did not have was an understanding of what they faced. The Union ships fought bravely but were quickly overwhelmed. One by one, they fell back, damaged and retreating. But the Taeguk Pioneer held position, and around it, the Devastators found themselves in trouble. Lieutenant Jaemin piloted with precision that defied belief. Weapons Officer Yunji fired with accuracy that seemed impossible. Every shot hit critical systems. Every maneuver avoided incoming fire. The Pioneer was not just holding, it was dominating. "What is that ship?" Thraxul demanded. "Why can we not hit it?" His tactical officer reviewed the data. "Overlord, that vessel is moving at accelerations that should kill its crew. It is taking damage that should disable it. Its reactions are impossibly fast. I do not understand how it still functions." "Because it is a human ship," Jiwoo said over open channels. "Built on Earth, crewed by Deathworlders, and we are just getting started." The battle raged for 3 days. The Taeguk Pioneer fought alone. After the Union ships retreated, but it fought like a fleet. It disabled 19 Devastator vessels and damaged 30 more. The enemy could not believe a single ship was causing such destruction. On the fourth day, Earth's fleet arrived. 15 human warships dropped out of fold space in perfect formation. They were smaller than Devastator vessels but built to survive Earth's environment. Every system was over-engineered. Every crew member was a Deathworlder. Fleet Admiral Ko Minsu broadcast to both sides. "This is the Earth Defense Fleet. Devastators, you have attacked our allies. You have one chance to withdraw." "You are outnumbered 10-1, Thraxul responded. "You cannot win." "Numbers are not everything," Ko said. "But if you insist on learning the hard way, so be it." The human fleet engaged. What followed was not a battle, but a demonstration. Human ships moved like they were alive. Human crews performed maneuvers that broke every tactical doctrine. Human weapons hit with precision that seemed psychic. The Devastators had thought themselves strong because they came from a harsh world. They had never encountered beings from a harsher one. Their 0.9 gravity was nothing to humans. Their hostile fauna was tame compared to Earth's. They were strong by galactic standards. Humans were strong by Deathworld standards. Within 6 hours, 40 Devastator ships were disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. The humans showed the same restraint they had with the pirates. They could kill but chose not to. They proved their superiority not through destruction, but through absolute control. Overlord Thraxul requested communication. When he appeared on screen, his posture showed submission. "What are you?" he asked. "We thought ourselves powerful. We came from a hard world. We survived predators and harsh conditions. But compared to you, we are children." "You came from a difficult world," General Anjihye said. She had led the ground forces that retook captured stations. "We came from a nightmare. Your world challenged you. Ours tried to exterminate us. You survived your environment. We had to conquer ours." "I have accessed your database," Thraxul said quietly. "I have seen Earth. Your gravity would crush us. Your weather would kill us. Your wildlife would hunt us. How did you survive?" "By working together," Admiral Ko said. "By never giving up. By becoming stronger than our world. The same way you survived yours, just taken further." Thraxul was silent for a long moment. "We thought strength meant conquering others, but you show strength by protecting others. We thought power came from taking. You show that power comes from choosing what to do with it." "You can choose too," Ambassador Gina said. She had joined the command ship for negotiations. "You can continue fighting and lose everything, or you can join the Union, contribute your strength to protection instead of conquest." "Why would you accept us after we attacked?" Thraxul asked. "We are your enemies." "You were our enemies," Gina corrected. "But the galaxy needs strength to survive. Controlled strength, directed strength, but strength nonetheless. You can be that strength, or you can be defeated. Choose." The Devastators chose peace. They joined the Union as probationary members, much like humans had months before. But where humans had been feared, the Devastators were welcomed. The Union had learned that strength was not evil, and that those who could fight might be the best protectors. The galaxy had changed. No longer would peace depend on the absence of conflict. Now it would be maintained by those strong enough to defend it and wise enough to know when not to. 5 years had passed since humanity first left Earth and encountered the Galactic Union. 5 years of fear, misunderstanding, conflict, and eventually, understanding. The galaxy was different now. Better, most agreed. Admiral Han Jiwoo stood on the bridge of her new command, a joint human-Union vessel named Unity. She was no longer captain of an exploration ship, but leader of a defense fleet that included both human vessels and ships from 40 different species. It was an achievement she had never imagined possible. The Taeguk Pioneer had been retired to a museum on Central Station. Millions of beings from across the galaxy visited it each year. They walked its corridors, saw its systems, and marveled that such a simple exploration vessel had changed galactic history. Many were still nervous in its Earth-normal gravity, but they came anyway. Dr. Park Mirai now directed the Institute of Comparative Biology. a massive research center where humans and aliens studied life from thousands of worlds. Her work showed that every planet's unique challenges created unique strengths. Earth was harsh, but other worlds had their own difficulties and their own remarkable solutions. We spent so long focusing on Earth's extremes, she told her students, who came from dozens of species. We forgot that every world is extreme in its own way. A water world teaches different lessons than a desert world. A high-gravity world creates different adaptations than a low-gravity one. Every environment is a teacher. We just need to learn the lessons. Ambassador Ojina had become Earth's permanent representative to the reformed Galactic Council. The Council itself had changed dramatically. Where once it made decisions solely through consensus, now it balanced peaceful negotiation with practical defense. The old ways were respected, but new realities were acknowledged. We were naive, Councillor Thexmar admitted during one session. We believed the universe would remain peaceful because we wished it so. Humans showed us that peace requires protection, not aggression, but readiness, the willingness to stand against those who would harm the innocent. General Yoon Dae-ho ran the Galactic Defense Academy, where beings from hundreds of worlds trained together. The curriculum he developed did not focus on combat but on protection, on understanding when force was necessary and when it was not. Strength without wisdom is dangerous, he taught his diverse students. But wisdom without strength is helpless. You must develop both. Know how to fight, but know more importantly why you fight. The best warrior is one who protects those who cannot protect themselves. The Devastators had surprised everyone with how well they integrated into galactic society. Ambassador Thraxzul, once a warlord, now worked alongside humans in peacekeeping operations. His species had learned that their strength was valued when used correctly. We were angry, he told a gathering of young Devastators considering careers in the Union. We thought our harsh world made us superior. Then we met humans and learned there are always bigger challenges, always stronger beings. The lesson was humbling, but it was also freeing. We no longer need to prove ourselves through conquest. We prove ourselves through service. Trade between Earth and galactic civilization flourished. Humans provided security services, engineering expertise, and what became known as Deathworld solutions to impossible problems. Need someone to work in extreme conditions? Hire humans. Need equipment that can withstand harsh environments? Use human designs. Need someone to face danger calmly? Call a Deathworlder. In return, humanity gained access to technologies that would have taken centuries to develop alone. Medical advances that extended human lifespans, energy systems that were clean and efficient, food production methods that ended hunger. The exchange benefited everyone, but more important than technology was the cultural exchange. Humans learned to see beauty and gentleness, to value peace not as weakness but as achievement. Aliens learned that strength could serve love, that courage could protect rather than threaten. Friendships formed across species barriers. Lieutenant Kang Sora, now Professor Kang, taught xenolinguistics. Her best friend was a crystalline being from a low-gravity world. They were so different physically they could barely occupy the same space, yet they understood each other perfectly. Communication is about more than words, Sora taught. It is about trying to understand another perspective, another experience, another way of being. My friend and I come from worlds that would kill each other, but we share hopes, dreams, and fears. Those things are universal. Tourism between worlds became common. Aliens visited Earth in special protective gear, marveling at the planet that had created Deathworlders. They saw oceans that could swallow ships, mountains that touched the sky, storms that raged with unimaginable power, and they began to understand. It is beautiful, Ambassador Velthar said during her first visit to Earth. She stood in a protective suit on a beach in Korea watching waves crash against rocks. Terrifying, yes, deadly certainly, but beautiful. I understand now why humans love their world despite its harshness. Humans visited paradise worlds in return, finally understanding why Earth was considered extreme. They walked on planets with gentle breezes and mild temperatures where the most dangerous animal was barely threatening, where storms were soft rains and earthquakes were unknown. It is peaceful, Chef Binari said during her visit to Velthar's homeworld. So peaceful it almost hurts. But I miss the intensity of Earth, the challenge, the feeling that every day matters because every day could be your last. That is the Deathworlder perspective, Velthar said gently. You are alive in a way we are not. Your awareness is sharper because your world demands it. We could never survive on Earth, but we benefit from knowing those who can. The concept of Deathworlder had evolved. It was no longer a warning label, but a recognition of unique capabilities. Other harsh world species had been discovered and welcomed. Each brought their own strengths. The galaxy had learned that diversity of origin created strength of community. The day came when the Galactic Council voted to meet on Earth for the first time. It was a symbolic gesture, a way of showing that fear had been replaced by respect. Delegates from thousands of worlds gathered in Seoul, each in specially designed protective gear. The ceremony took place in a great hall that had been modified to accommodate different atmospheric needs. Ambassador Velthar spoke first, her voice carrying across species barriers. 5 years ago, we discovered humans and felt terror, she said. We saw their strength and feared conquest. We learned of their world and imagined nightmares. We were wrong to let fear guide us. Yes, humans are strong. Yes, they come from a world that would destroy most of us. But their greatest strength is not physical, it is moral. She continued, humans choose kindness despite knowing cruelty. They choose protection despite being able to dominate. They choose cooperation despite being capable of succeeding alone. They are proof that strength and goodness can coexist, that power can serve love. Admiral Jiwoo gave the final speech. She looked out at the incredible diversity before her, beings of every imaginable form, all gathered in peace. When we left Earth, she said, we were looking for our place in the universe. We did not expect fear or rejection, but those challenges taught us as much as acceptance would have. We learned that being strong means choosing when to use that strength. We learned that being dangerous means being careful. We learned that coming from a harsh world gives us responsibility to protect those from gentler ones. She smiled. You taught us the value of peace. We taught you the necessity of defense. Together we built something neither could achieve alone, a civilization that values both strength and gentleness, both courage and wisdom, both power and compassion. As the ceremony concluded, the delegates requested something unusual. They wanted to experience Earth directly, without protective gear just for a moment. They wanted to understand. One by one, they removed their suits. They felt Earth's gravity pulling at them. They breathed Earth's oxygen burning their lungs. They felt Earth's sunlight unfiltered and intense. It lasted only seconds before they had to return to safety, but in that moment they understood. This was what forged humanity. This crushing weight, this burning air, this harsh environment. This is what made Deathworlders. And incredibly, impossibly, wonderfully, humans called this home. The galaxy had learned many lessons from humanity's arrival. That strength serves best when it protects. That danger and kindness can coexist. That the harshest origins can create the gentlest souls. That those who survive nightmares often become the best dreamers. Earth, the death world that had terrified the galaxy, had become a symbol of hope, proof that intelligence and compassion could flourish anywhere. Proof that the strong could choose to serve the weak. Proof that those who knew how to fight often made the best peacekeepers. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or threats, but as friends, protectors, and partners. The children of Earth had left their death world and shown the galaxy that even nightmares could create beauty. And the stars, those distant lights that humans had gazed at for millennia, were finally home.